Today, let us talk about engine stall, what it is, and most importantly, how to recognize it. Engine stall is when the airflow into the engine is disturbed. It is like this: when you eat, the food goes down to your stomach. What happens when the food comes back up to your mouth? Well, that is called vomiting, and it is not a nice feeling. Similarly, for the engine, air is supposed to travel in one direction, from the fan part and back to the tail exhaust section. How do jet engines work? In simple terms, they follow the suck, squeeze, bang, blow cycle. Air is sucked inside and then this air is being compressed. Compressed air is then ignited, creating a force that goes out the back. That is how thrust is produced. So suck, squeeze, bang and blow. But when the compressor blades go haywire, they cannot or is unable to compress the air from the front to the rear of the engine. This is similar to when you did not chew your food and immediately swallow. At times, high pressure air at the end of the compressor can reverse flow and escape from the front of the engine, similar to vomiting. The question is why? Why does this happen? We tend to vomit when we get food poisoning or too much alcohol. So if the engine blades have a rupture or is very old, stall happens. Ingestion of foreign objects like birds or ice and perhaps a malfunction on the bleed system can cause stall as well. Other causes includes the engine itself has a fuel scheduling problem, just like when flight operations call you up for flight and ruin your day. What are all the other causes of stall? Wake turbulence, flying behind a big aircraft, not using the reverses correctly, and also lightning strike. Next, we move on to how do we detect and recognize stall. When you are taking off, naturally you put on full power. If the engine is not performing well, you will hear some bangs like a shotgun being fired. You might get loss of thrust and sometimes reverse thrust. With one engine having high power and the other one low, it can cause a yaw movement. One easy way to detect a stall is to look at the numbers. If the engine parameters are going haywire, you would know that something is wrong. The EGT might rise. The engine might start vibrating and there might be flames shooting out from the back of the engine. Sometimes you can smell a burning odor in the cockpit. Let us look at some of the indications when we are on cruise or when the engine is operating at a lower power setting. You might get muffled bangs or sometimes sluggish or no thrust lever response. The engine parameters go haywire and increase of EGT temperature. The engine might start vibrating violently. Burning smell in the cockpit and ECAM alert engine stall are some of the signs that the engine is grumpy. But do take note that the FADEC might not be able to detect all cases of engine stall. The FADEC might perform first aid and try to recover from the engine stall. If you are watching this video, please press the like button and subscribe. Yeehaw! Now that we know how to detect a grumpy engine, how do we manage it? As engine stall is not a memory item, we do not need to perform any immediate actions. Take a breather and assess what is happening to the engine. Once you identify that it is an engine stall, then perform ECAM actions or the QRH procedure. But first, fly the plane. Only then reduce the thrust to idle on the affected engine. On some engine, it might be wise to select engine anti-ice on to increase the bleed demand. Check the engine parameters. If it is still showing abnormal readings, then shut down the engine. If engine parameters return to normal, then slowly advance the thrust levers. If the stall comes out again, then keep the thrust below the stall threshold, but do not shut down the engine. Why? Even at idle power, the engine can power the hydraulic, electric and bleed systems. It also produces less drag. So in summary, fly the plane. Know how to recognize an engine stall in order to reduce the startle effect. Trust the ECAM as most of the failure items are covered by ECAM. Some cases are subtle, so the plane needs pilots to make the correct assessment of the failure. And last but not least, try to keep the engine running to power the other systems.